Hi, this is Mark Oblat from Classic Technologies, and I am at the point of installing the fuse box in the Austin Healey. So I was going to do a little video demonstration, go through part of it, and I built the harness from scratch, and I used the original harness to lay out and mock up the new harness. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through and get all the wires trimmed to length, laid out, and make all the connections. So first what I'll do is I'll go through the schematic and separate the wires to the right side and the left side. And first position would be power for a radio, but I'm actually not going to put a regular radio in the car. If I do anything, I'm going to put an amplifier in the back and just connect a Bluetooth receiver to it and stream music from my phone to the amp. The second connection is the power to the light switch, and that is going to be the blue wire. So I'll find the blue wire in the bundle and pull it out and get that somewhat trimmed to length. I'll start off kind of going a little bit long and then neaten everything up. So that would be alright to reach there. The next wire is power to the ignition switch, and that is a white wire with a brown stripe. So I'll pull that one out. Saw it. Here we go. Pull that out. I'll probably get, that, cut that there. The next wire is the purple wires, and those are for your, your dome light and power to, like trunk lights, or that also powers your hazard switch. So find the purple wires. Next wire is the white, which would be to the ignition, and that's going to be your ignition wire. So that's going to go right about to there. Cut it there. Next wire is the white with the purple, and that's for the fuel pump. That would go right about there. Then the green wire, which powers the gauges and the warning lights. Then I have the green wire, which is to the brake lights. And that is going to position 9. So I'll have that come down a little bit more, leave that a little bit longer. Cut that there. Next wire is the orange to the wipers, so I would just do about there. Then I have the green with the yellow stripe, and that is to your heater motor. Get that right about there. Then the white pink would be, that's position 12, that would be to your radio, but again, I'm not planning on putting in a radio, but I could always add that wire and run it behind the dash, no big deal. Then I have a yellow with a green stripe, which is to the overdrive. That goes to position 14. Do that. I'm going to have to cut these all again, but just go through it. Okay, then the last one, 15 is a spare position. That's going to be blank. Then I have position 16, which is going to be a tan with a yellow stripe, and that's going to be the wire that goes from the ignition switch accessory position to actuate the accessory relay. Now, I just have a 2-position ignition switch, so I will have that wire go to, jumper to position, which position? Position 20, which is the ignition relay. So both the ignition relay and the accessory relay will be powered at the same time. So that is for the right side of the fuse box, and now all of these other wires are for the left side. So I will drape these behind and pull these all out. I just pulled out all the wires for the right side and then the left side as well. And now I'm just getting ready to terminate to the connectors, and I strip off about 3/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And the first connector, which is positions 1 through 8, I'm pulling out those wires. Now I'm just gonna get those cut, and then what I can do is I can pull out the connector like that, and now I wires and get the connector into a position that's more convenient. But I'm gonna grab my screwdriver. Let's see. Start with the first connection, which is the in this case it's brown with a blue stripe, which is the power to the headlight switch. I have to back out the screws because make sure that windows are open to insert the wires. Okay, so now I'll insert the brown with the blue, like so. Tighten up the screw. Make sure it's good and tight. Position number 3 is the white and the brown. So that is this wire. No, didn't strip that. I'm going to have to neaten that up. Get that installed. Position number 4 is the purple, which I don't have. Then I have the white. Okay, the green goes into, green is for your brake lights and reverse lights. Put that into position 9. take the orange wire, which is for your wiper motor, put that into position 10. Tight, and this is the yellow wire with a green stripe, and that is for the overdrive, and that goes in position 14. Put that in there like that. Now, as I said before, position 16 is to energize the accessory relay, which powers all of the accessory fuses. And since I just have a 2-position switch on the Healey, I'm going to jumper the ignition, the wire from the ignition switch over to the accessory position, so that when I turn on the ignition switch, it's going to power both the ignition and accessory relay. So I'll make that connection, and the right side is all done. I'll just neaten that up, and I guess like this I'll have a little bit of a service loop, last I will connect the power wires. Okay, now I'll work on the left side. Purple and the black, and that goes into position 17. Cut that and strip it. Next is the purple with the yellow stripe, and that is the output of the horn relay to the horns. And I'll cut that just about even with the other wire. Okay, the next after that is a spare. Then I have the wire from the ignition switch. Which is the white wire. And pretty much all of these will be the same length. So, okay, then after that, I have the, which is that? It's the brown wire to, that is the excitation to the alternator, to the field of the alternator. Like that. I'm not planning on putting in a hazard switch. Again, I'm trying to stay stock with the this car aside from my fuse box, but so position 24 would be the power cheer hazard switch. 25 is the low beam output of the low beam relay. So that is the blue with the red stripe. So I will cut that one. And snip the wire. Okay. Now I'll pull out the connector, and then you have to just check all the windows on the connector. Make sure they're all open. So these are pretty much all open. And start making the connection. So start right about there. Next is the blue with the white stripe, which is the output of the high beam relay. It's gonna go do that. Right. And the next is the light blue with the white stripe, which energizes the high beam relay. So then I have the starter relay wires. So the starter relay wires, you have a 18 gauge red with a white stripe and white with a red stripe, and then you have a 16 gauge white with a red stripe, and it's not that easy to tell the difference, but if you look at the 16 gauge is obviously thicker than the 18 gauge, and you can also look at the the ends of the conductors, and you can see that there is one core of the cable is bigger than the other. So the bigger one goes to the output of the relay, which is the output of the starter relay, which is in position 32. But anyway, we'll kind of lay these things so they go in like so. It should be good, and then the last ones are for the turn signal, and that should go just about like that. So I had plenty of extra wire. Right, pull out the connector, check the windows. So actually, I don't know if you can see, but this window is down. And there is actually a, I say in the instructions that if the screw is tightened all the way, there's a window that's going to open up, below the fence. And if you stick the wire in there, the screw is tightened as much as it can be, the wire is not going to be crimped. So what you have to do is you have to back that screw all the way out. Get that fence to go down. Okay, so now it's open. Now all of these are open, so I can terminate the wires. Position 31 was, from your ignition switch, or if you have a push button start, that would go to position 31, and then that energizes the starter relay, and you get the output in position 32, which goes to your starter solenoid. And position 33 is the ground for the starter relay. And if you have an alarm or you want to have an ignition kill switch, you can have have the alarm output for a ground interrupt to position 33, or you can have a toggle switch between your ground and 33 and hide that somewhere. The starter will not go unless your toggle switch is up. Or if you're not going to do any of that, you can just connect ground. You can either go to your grain screw terminal and have a jumper that goes to position 33, or you can go to whatever chassis ground. And then the last two connections, one of the connections is your turn signal, from your turn signal flasher, and the other wire that I have here is to the turn signal indicator, and I'm just connecting it at the fuse box. I'll connect that, and this is wire from my wiper that goes out through there. But that's pretty much it. And just now I just need to make the power connections. So I'm now making the power connections. What I'm doing is I'm going to jumper the power input to the fuse box from the red screw terminal to go to the blue screw terminal, which is the headlight power input. And I'm going to slide over a heat shrink first. Slide it back far enough so the heat of the soldering iron doesn't shrink the heat shrink before I want it to. And these are I'm using crimp terminals, but I didn't want to have all those yellow sleeves and everything showing in there. So what I'm going to do is I cut off the plastic part of the contact, and just going to solder it, and then put a heat shrink sleeve over it. So for this connection, I was using the yellow spade terminal that will accommodate a 16 and 12 gauge wire. And take my soldering iron and my solder. And get that going. So when you're soldering, you want to heat the wire and the contact up, and then touch the solder to, you don't touch the solder to the iron, you touch it to the wire and the contact. That way you don't get a cold solder joint. Okay. Should be good. And okay. Let that cool, because that will burn you. But that was pretty much the installation, and it really actually only took me about an hour. So a lot of really nice user-friendly features of this, and once you have all your wires identified and laid out, and it's very simple to terminate to the fuse box.